Crotella did turn himself into Troop F in Westbrook back on Monday, where he was arrested. Crotella is charged with negligent homicide with a motor vehicle, illegal passing, and evading responsibility. Crotella is being held on a $250,000 bond. No further arrests are expected in this case, according to state police. There's going to be another food distribution in Griswold. This one will be Thursday, October 21st from 4 to 5:30 or until they run out. It'll be at Griswold Town Hall, 28 Main Street in Jewett City. They ask you to please enter through the Senior Center parking lot at 22 Sewell Street. The food box is free. There's no paperwork necessary. It's first come, first serve. Just remain in your car, open your trunk, wear a mask, and personnel will put the box right in your car. That'll be Thursday, October 21st from 4 to 5:30 at Griswold Town Hall or until they run out of boxes. Here are a couple of events from Griswold Pride that may be of interest to you. It is Red Ribbon Week, and there is going to be an event this Friday, October 22nd at the Griswold Middle School, where students and staff will be participating in what is called Chalk the Walk. What they're asking is for the community to decorate the sidewalk with healthy choices, drug-free, and positive messages that they will see on their campus-wide walk. The sidewalk area to decorate is at the main entrance of the middle school. That's the entrance on the side, not in the front. The event will start at around 1:15 and conclude on the Griswold High School football field with some fun with the GMS band and us right here at SNSN Radio. Another event will be the National Drug Take-Back Day, which will be this Saturday at Town Hall from 10 to 2. What we are asking you to do is bring all of your unused or unwanted medications and dispose of them properly by bringing them to the National Drug Take-Back Day. There will be personnel, including a state trooper, that will take them off your hands for safe disposal and destruction. That'll be this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the National Drug Take-Back Day at Griswold Town Hall. Here's a look at your local weather forecast on SNSN. We can expect mostly sunny skies for your Friday. Matter of fact, it should be a nice weekend, all weekend long weather-wise. Temperatures today around 71 degrees. Great weather for Chalk the Walk at Griswold Middle School. Tonight, mostly cloudy, temps dropping down to about 48 degrees. And then partly sunny skies on Saturday. A little bit of a wind from the northwest. Temps around 61 degrees.
The voice of Griswold, Jewett City and Plainfield, SNSN.
And good morning, it's SNSN. It is a Friday, but you knew that, didn't you? Oh, Paul.
Yes, I did.
Totally caught you off guard.
Yes, you did.
I do it every single day, don't I?
Yes, you did.
At least you don't have the weather ready, do you?
Thank you.
So normally it's myself, Paul, and Chris every single Friday morning, but we're going to forego that today for some other excitement.
I get a vacation day.
You get a vacation day, pretty much.
You're still here because that'll be vacation day.
You're still here.
Well, so everybody's not throwing
Yeah. Hard questions at me.
But I gotta get you. You're right in the middle of the camera. You're blocking this gentleman right here. There we go.
I'll step over here until I have something to say.
All right, there you go. So today we are going to go ahead and showcase the Republican Town committee candidates here in the town of Griswold. We did the same thing for the DTC on Monday. So, which was Paul, was pretty informative.
That was pretty informative.
We learned quite a bit, which we hope to do today. I'm going to be right up front. Some people, I've gotten a lot of questions. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to talk to them? You know what? It's going to be the same thing and the same type of conversation that we had with the DTC. Right. This conversation is a community conversation. It's about the residents. It's about getting information to the residents. This is not any kind of slam fest.
No,
it's the same thing. We said the same thing, in front of the DTC candidates as well. So
I think it's important that the residents know who the candidates are.
Yeah. They're not just a sign on the side of the road.
Right.
Yeah.
And then let them make a valid choice on who they want to pick. That's all.
Exactly.
That's the whole reason for doing this. Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, as long as they are respectful, we will go ahead and pass those on to the candidates and ask them for you. So right now we're gonna start off with a couple of candidates for the Board of Finance, Valerie Grills and Tom Pulaski. Good morning, folks. How are you? And Val, how have you been? I've known you for quite some time.
I'm good. Life's good.
Still doing New Year's Eve?
No.
that was fun back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
No, that's a different story altogether. All right. So, Tom, what about you? Do you party on New Year's Eve?
I used to.
Used to? We all used to do a lot of things. So Tom, you're probably the one candidate that I know the least about. So, as far as the Board of Finance is concerned, what makes you qualified to run for the Board of Finance?
Well, I've had a lot of experience in finances and public service. Back when my kids were in elementary school, I volunteered. I was the treasurer for the PTO, and then I relocated to Griswold because of a job relocation.
Where you from?
I grew up in Stratford, and we lived in
sure.
Stratford. So my kids went through elementary school in Stratford, and so moved to Griswold. Got involved with my kids in the school system. My daughter was entering middle school at the time, and my son was entering high school. And then I got involved with the Griswold RTC, and I got more involved in the community. There was positions open to run for the planning and zoning alternate. So I was elected. So I was a planning and zoning alternate for about 2 years. And then the treasurer of the RTC was getting overloaded with her work responsibilities. So I decided I would become the treasurer for the RTC.
Okay.
So I've been the treasurer for the past 6 years. And, that involved a lot of, dealing with the budgets and doing the monthly reports. And then there's also about 4 or 5 filings that you have to do with the State Elections Enforcement Commission.
Sure.
So I got a lot of experience doing that, the fundraising and that kind of thing. So just, again, some financial maintainability and accountability experience. I've got degrees in engineering and in business, and in my job, I do a lot of.
I was just going to ask you what you did for a living.
I'm a development engineer. I work for Rogers Corporation up in Danielson, Rogers.
Yeah. Rogers is what? The population is what? 7? Other than, and half of it is from Rogers Corp, is it not?
Yeah. Nice little town.
Very small town.
Yeah, it is.
Do they even have a main street? Really?
There is. If you go back in time, it was called Williamsville back in Williamsville.
Okay.
And when that plant was constructed, it was maybe like in the late 1800s or something like, or early 1900s, late 1800s. It was the Williamsville Cotton Mill or something like that.
Okay.
But so right down the street, there's one Technology Drive, but one street over is there's Maple Street, but there's Williamsville. There's a volunteer fire department right there. So over time, Goodyear purchased the plant. They renamed the town Goodyear.
Oh, okay.
Goodyear paid for the electric for the entire town. And then in the 1930s or 1940s, Rogers Corporation purchased the plant. And they renamed the town Rogers.
Yeah, it is a very small town.
Yeah.
Paul, did you have something?
No, I think he kind of answers his background. That's what I was interested in.
Yeah, so with my engineering background and all the calculations and stuff, and lots of use of spreadsheets and tracking. And right now, I'm a project manager for a capital project where I'm constructing a research and development lab and all the enclosing equipment at that Rogers, Connecticut site. So going through the whole thing of getting quotations, issuing requisitions, getting the purchase orders, getting the invoices, keeping track of all that information on a spreadsheet. We've got a budget, and then just comparing how are we doing with the budget, actual versus budget, maintaining. And so I'm maintaining that we stay within the costs that we were appropriated.
which is important. You know, it's one of the things Paul and I have talked about many times over the years is that the Board of Finance in this town and pretty much any town is the most important, or one of the two most important boards in the town.
Right.
I mean, everything is important, but the Board of Finance holds the pencil.
All right.
You know, they're the ones that say, yeah, or nope, you got to go back and cut.
Right.
Or, I don't, when's the last time they said, no, you didn't spend enough?
That doesn't happen.
So what drives a board to say, no, or particular line items? What drives a board to say we need to cut something, or it's okay, like in your estimation?
Well, I think you need to maintain like an equitable budget. You need to have something that addresses everyone's concerns. You've got small kids, so you're looking at the school system. You've got senior citizens. So, and then, in this post-pandemic situation that we're in, it brings in a few more complications and requirements and needs. So I just think the board needs to keep everybody in mind, from children all the way up to senior citizens.
Okay. Val, how are you? Good morning.
I'm great. Thank you.
Good. You've been a Griswold resident,
All my life.
yeah, as far as I can remember. I mean, you went to Griswold through the Griswold school system,
I did.
and now you went on to college.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to Manchester Community College and then Greater Hartford.
Okay.
I got a surgical technology was my first degree. I worked in the OR at Hartford Hospital for 9 years. Then I went back and got my nursing degree so I could move back home because they didn't hire techs back then.
Yeah.
Got my nursing degree and never went back to the OR. Worked at Bacchus for the last 32 years. Been an ER nurse for 29 of them. I also worked for a surgical group. I was their administrator for 22 years before they were bought out by Hartford Health. And
Is everybody getting bought out by Hartford Health?
yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
And
They're not selling; they're buying.
Yeah.
so I've always worked 2 jobs. I always worked the office Monday through Friday, worked the ER weekends and nights. April, I retired from my office job and went down to 1 job now. So I just work the ER. And
retired and went down to one job.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just work weekends so I can watch my grandbabies during the week.
Oh, how many grandkids do you have
I have
now?
2.
Congratulations.
Yes, I have 2 grandchildren. So
How old are they?
Jackson is 2.5 and Marley is 3 months.
Wow. That's a new baby.
Got a new one. Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
And my oldest got married on Friday, so hopefully we'll have more grandkids coming.
Holy moly.
Just saying.
Boy, life is
Life's
moving
good.
along for you, huh?
That's good.
So now do you have an RN? You have a BSN? What is your...
I have an associate. I have 2 associate degrees,
Okay.
an associate in science and associate in nursing. Gotcha.
So now I'm going to ask you the same question. Now you're already on the Board of Finance,
Yes.
correct?
I have done 1 term on the Board of Finance. Prior to Board of Finance, I did a 4-year term on the Board of Ed. That's where I started in public service. I kind of avoided public service for a long time. My dad was in public service for 40 years, and I saw the fun of politics, and I wasn't really interested. But I joined the RTC and saw the importance of public service, and you kind of look past some of the tough parts of it and you focus on helping your town and giving back. So the Board of Ed was my starting, and I love the Board of Ed. I was on their facilities committee, their curriculum committee, and most important, their negotiations committee, which was a very eye-opening experience, which, as we all know, impacts the budget hugely because there's a lot of contractual obligations in a negotiations and in your budget. So I did that for 4 years, and
I just don't want to get the crosstalk from out
no,
there.
that's
too,
fine.
yeah, so.
Thank you. I was approached about coming onto the Board of Finance. The next time elections. I did was the administrator of the surgical practice. I was responsible for their budget, and did that for 22 years. Not sure I'm the best qualified person for the Board of Finance, other than I care about the taxpayers. I've learned a lot over the years, Board of Ed, and the last 4 years of the Board of Finance. I believe in sticking to a budget, the importance of a budget, being open to the taxpayers.
I was just going to ask you that because, you know, being on the Board of Education and then moving over to the Board of Finance, it's kind of like you're on one side of the egg and now you're on the other side of the egg, so to speak.
Everyone pits the Board of Finance and the Board of Ed against each other, but we really
No,
are
I wasn't
a team.
doing that. I wasn't doing that at all. It's got to be an interesting switch.
It's actually, I think it's made me a better Board of Finance member being on the Board of Ed, because I understand their budget. You know, you look through their 500 pages and you kind of try and get a hold of it all. But to be honest, I had a real good understanding after working on the Board of Ed budget for 4 years. So bringing that to the Board of Finance, I think, was a big help to the Board of Finance, and said so many times, board members, like, you know, it's good to have that part of it. But you
And
definitely,
that makes sense.
we're
That makes
a
plenty of
different-
sense. Yeah.
It was a great learning and education. I think it gives me more insight when it comes to budget time.
I'm glad she started to talk about the budget stuff, because the nursing, if I was a new resident in town and you
Like,
told
why
me,
is there a nurse? Yeah.
why is
running
a nurse on a Board of Finance?
Well, why is an engineer? You know, I mean, what's the difference? All right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
And if you know engineers, they work with number, right?
Yep.
Right? They're number people. They're number people.
Okay.
But
We are too. You
yeah,
hope
I
you know
know,
math or you're dead. No,
yeah,
sorry.
I know, but
No,
I was just trying to,
Nursing's a
and
pretty
you did
complicated
mention
job.
that, and that's what I was trying to get out of you.
Yes. No. And, you know, I have been around the politics in this town all my life.
Yeah.
So, and I respect, you know, everyone that steps up and volunteers and runs for these boards, because
Yeah.
it is a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge responsibility to our taxpayers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we have to, you know, answer to them.
Right. Because there are a lot of new people in town now, as you know.
Absolutely.
So we need,
Yeah.
you need to know.
And we want to get more young people to come in and be
Right.
more active. It's easy to be the one on Facebook or online
Right.
dissing everything that's going on. But, you know, at some point in your life, and it took me many years, to step up and be part of the solution instead of the problem or the complainer. So, it's an honor to serve on the Board of Finance and the Board of Ed the past few years.
Well, you bring up Facebook, which is, you know, those are the people that never show to a meeting either.
Never vote either.
They don't vote either.
No.
For the most part, they don't, you know? So it's like, I've gotten past the whole Facebook thing. I'm over it. I really am. Chris, do you have anything? Do you have
Yeah.
anything?
Actually, I've got a two-part question for both the candidates. Number one, why do you feel compelled to run for the Board of Finance? And number two, what's the biggest line item on our latest budget that you feel urgently needs to be addressed?
Do you want to start?
Yeah.
I'll start. So, the reason I run for the Board of Finance is because I was one of those people that heard a lot of things going on, but unless you go to the meetings and get it right from, you know, the source,
Right.
it's just misinformation. So it's been a learning experience, but it's been awesome working on the Board of Finance. We see how government works. We see the pros and cons. We see things that probably don't go as smooth as they should, but guess what? That we learn from that and we move forward and do better next time. And I think it's important that we have someone that has a voice for the taxpayers. And I feel like I know a lot of the community, and when things come up, people actually call me and ask me what's going on, you know, and, you know, come to the meetings, hear it. Don't just go on what's on Facebook, because I hear that all on Facebook. I saw. So it's important to be a voice for the taxpayers, which is my main reason for being on the board. the biggest, I think the biggest budget line items that are coming is our big projects that are coming up and how those are going to impact our budget. Everyone, is excited about, having a new senior center, having new gas lines and sewer lines, but we do have to pay for that. So that is going to impact our budget hugely in the next few years, before we even get to contractual increases or everyone else's budget. So it's a concern. It's going to be a lot of work to get things paid for without hurting the taxpayers too much, but we have a lot of responsibilities tax-wise that we've agreed to on these projects. So I think that's going to be a lot of work in the next year.
Well, the reason I'm going for this position because there was a need for it. I heard that there was an opening, and with my recent experience with how projects are run and how budgets are maintained, and I just thought maybe I could help out. I could help out the town by that. I'm not really sure how everything works in the Department of Finance as far as how expenses are approved once a project is approved, and how you prevent things from going over budget. But I know how it works at my company, and I just think that experience could maybe help out the town.
Well, I think dollars and cents, I mean, experience or not, the numbers don't lie,
Right.
They're pretty black and white. So.
But, you don't want to find out things about things before the money's already been spent. You kind of people need to be informed, and be kept up to date on where the money's going. So, and then the biggest items that, we're spending money now trying to improve the town and the infrastructure so we can attract businesses, because really it would be great to increase our tax base and reduce the burden on the taxpayer.
Yeah. And if you don't have infrastructure, you don't have business. There's nothing for them. If they can't hook up to something, they're looking elsewhere, especially if they want to get it done quick.
Yep.
If there's nothing there, like up on 138 and 201, there's no infrastructure there.
Yep.
We're going to Plainfield. We're going to Lisbon. We don't want that. We've had that before.
Businesses that are going to bring tax money in,
Right. So the last question that I have before we move on to some folks from the Board of Education. What kind of sustainable businesses would you think, in your estimation, would be good for Griswold? If you were to say, you look into a crystal ball and say, I want this, what would it be?
Well, I can say not a package store or a gas station.
I agree.
We seem to have a lot in our little town. I think restaurants, stores, it's hard. We got to look at what we have. Industry is great. Up on 201, we might be able to get something to that effect. But like you said, we have to be able to draw any business in. And until we get our sewer and water in, we're kind of at a stalemate. So we get those projects done. I think someone will come to the table. We've had people come to the table in the past. It hasn't worked out. They're definitely trying to bring businesses in. It's not that, our town is not trying to do that. It just hasn't worked out yet. But I think once those projects are done, companies will come, and we hopefully will have a great opportunity for a lucrative business that's going to be a good tax base.
Tom?
Something along the lines of light manufacturing or warehouses, that kind of thing provides a tax base, but doesn't really require a lot of resources from the town. It doesn't put as much of a burden on the resources of the town.
Such as the data centers that are being,
Say that again. Your microphone was off.
Oh, such as the data centers that are being proposed. There's no resources required by the town.
Oh, okay.
They strictly sit there and we collect money on them.
Right.
I don't know what your feelings are on that, but
I'm interested in the research of this noise. There's a lot of data on data.
well, I will tell you,
Yeah.
I'm part of EDC,
Mhm.
and I did research on noise.
Oh, good. Yes. And not a problem.
I contacted 3 different states. No problem.
perfect.
So
That's awesome.
I
And
did.
that is a great option.
any option, that
Any
will help.
option.
That's kind of how I feel.
with,
too.
Yeah.
with the tax base, I think is a good idea. So, Tom, Val, thank you very much for coming on in this morning. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Good luck on election day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
And,
having us.
Absolutely. And you can, when this is over, you can go ahead and, you can watch it. You can share it, whatever you'd want to do. If you have an editor, you can go ahead and screen capture it. If you want to just share like your parts of the interview, you can certainly do
I'll
that.
share it
So,
all. It's
All right.
great information.
All right. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
That is Valerie Grills and Tom Pulaski, both running for the Board of Finance here in the town of Griswold. We are going to rock and roll in a minute with the Board of Education candidates right here on SNSN in just about 2 minutes.
Life is full of choices. At Jewett City Savings Bank, we can make one choice easy, finding the right checking account. We offer a range of affordable accounts to fit your budget and needs, and each gives you the freedom to access your money the way you want, online, through our mobile app, or with your debit card. It's your money and your choice. To learn more about the account that's right for you, stop by one of our offices or visit us at jcsbank.com. Jewett City Savings Bank, member FDIC.
Grill Liquors and V-Town Liquors, hundreds of new products and the best prices around in a renovated Voluntown store are giving away a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle 10-year bourbon. Online, that bottle goes for up to $1,000. Tickets are $20 a piece. Buy all you want. And the tickets available at the Griswold or Voluntown stores. Winner announced October 2nd. You don't need to be present to win. All proceeds support Griswold Youth Football. Grill Liquors and V-Town Liquors, the best parties start here. News and information you need for your day. SNSN.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We just had a nice conversation with Valerie Grills and Tom Pulaski, who are running for the Board of Finance. So we are going to go ahead and continue on. And I will say, just like I said before, those two folks who are in here, that if you have a question that you would like to ask, as long as it is respectful, we will go ahead and I just said go ahead twice, didn't I? Yeah, we'll ask the candidates. So there's actually 3 candidates in here. We only see 2 on camera. One of them is way off. There we go. We have current Board of Education Chair Mary Beth Malin. Now you actually roll on the board, right? Currently, right now. Shannon Webster and Jamie O'Neill Eaton. Did I say that right?
Yes,
Because I always screw up spelling your name.
everybody does.
You guys want to come up a little closer to the microphones? There we go. Okay, you also know that we had the Democratic Town Committee in here on Monday, and I think the most poignant conversation was with the Board of Education candidates, to be honest with you. So I don't expect this going to be any different, to be honest. So
The FBI won't be coming in.
no FBI. No. So let's start right off with Mary Beth. Good morning.
Good morning.
Since you are the chair of the current Board of Education, can you give us an idea of your background and what you feel makes you qualified to be on the Board of Ed?
Well, my background is I've lived here for 33 years. I have 2 children. One is in town here with her husband and my only grandchild. However, another one on the way, which is exciting for us. My son is down in Atlanta, and he works in film and movie productions in Atlanta, and along with his girlfriend. So I come from a very strong background here in Griswold. My mother graduated high school here, and my grandparents owned a dairy farm on Route 165, Barnes Dairy, for years. Those are my grandparents. So when
That was back when milk was like frothy and
Yes.
stuff, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it was like good.
Yep. So when my husband and I were looking to build a house, we looked into areas, and I really liked coming back to Griswold, where I have really strong roots. So we built a house, and we've been here 33 years, and I love it. And I'm seeking my 3rd term for re-election to the Board of Ed. I am presently the chair for the Board of Ed, and very proud to be the chair for the Board of Ed and work with such wonderful people on the board, especially these 2 to my right. And I've got an extremely strong board chair, vice chair, Yvonne Pulaski, with us.
And she's not up for re-election.
No,
correct?
she's not. She has 2 more years.
Okay.
So I brought the board back together We work as a team again. If you watch how I conduct meetings, I go around to everybody at the table. I circle around at least once, possibly twice, for their comments. What they have to say is important to me, and I want to hear it. I am a realtor. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I love it. It offers me a lot of flexibility. I also still volunteer in the high school music department. I watch my granddaughter a couple days a week. So I'm really busy. I don't stop. People say, how do you fit everything into your day? I go, I just make it work. And I always make it work. So I'm very happy with my board. And we have the continuity of the superintendent. We've had our superintendent here 6 years. And he's a wonderful person. You'll see his car still there late at night working. And we work very well together. We've done amazing things during COVID in our district. I'd love for you guys to come in and see our 2 state-of-the-art computer labs, the Nexus in the high school and the Launchpad in the middle school. Plus, we've done a lot of other things. And finally, probably one of the most accomplished things I'm proud of is this district's a 1-to-1 district. Every student has a device, whether it's a Chromebook, a laptop, an iPad to work on. So we're really proud of everything we've done for the past 2 years. And we've really put on a fast pace the last 2 years. So that's about me.
All right. I like when you said put the board back together. All I could think of was the Blues Brothers. We're getting the band back together.
I just want them to work. That was my goal, to work together. Everybody had a voice on the board. And I like my board. I just hope they all seek re-election and they seat their seats again for the next term. I'm really happy with them.
Gotcha. Shannon Webster, how are you, Shannon?
I'm doing well. How about you, Mike?
Good. Let's get you right here.
Okay.
Same question, really. What do you feel makes you qualified for the Board of Education?
Well, just a little bit about myself. I went through the Griswold public school system, been married for 26 years. I do currently have 2 children in Griswold schools. One is in the middle school, one is in the high school, 8th grade and senior.
Nolan and Ryan.
That is correct.
Got any idea where they were named from? Nolan and Ryan. Think about it, Paul.
You don't get it, Paul?
Oh, no.
Yankees.
There you go. There you go.
Wasn't done on purpose, I
How
swear.
is Nolan's midsection, by the way? Because we during a high school game, he's just like vroom, right, trying to get the ball, wasn't even looking, and then found the fence the hard way.
He certainly did. I volunteered to pay to fix the fence because he did leave quite the indent in
I
it.
saw your husband
But-
was like just staring and everything. And just so you know, we made a TikTok out of it. So anyway.
He didn't get hurt, which is absolutely
good,
amazing
right.
considering how fast he was running
He was
and nailed
full
that
boat.
fence. But it goes to show you commitment.
Yeah.
Everyone in our family has certain drive and commitment for sure.
Well, Kevin Merchant and I were calling the game. We were like, he was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, so was I as mom. I was a little
I'm
concerned,
sure,
but
I'm sure.
He got back up with that
They
ball
just-
in hand.
They just bounce right up, don't they?
He
These
sure
kids,
did.
They're so resilient. They really are. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So anyway, yes, been married 26 years. Again, I spoke about my children. I worked in the town hall, Griswold Town Hall, in the building department. In fact, in October of 2020, I opened my own
Well,
business.
yeah.
And then in November, I left the town of Griswold to pursue my business, which is doing very well, I might add. It's very exciting.
Shameless plug.
I won't say the name, so.
Why not? Good, just
I'm
say it.
leaving. Insert.
I mean, if I was going
Right,
to
right.
plug it, I would have worn my T-shirt. But anyway,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
anyway, so
No, what's the name of the business? What's the name? Go ahead.
Resilient Roots.
There we go.
I do
See,
floral design.
You didn't even get I even prompted you.
No, I didn't.
Did you get it? With the kids? Their kids are resilient.
Resilient. And I heard it, but I wasn't going to do that. It's not why
Well,
I'm
no,
here.
I understand.
swear.
You know what? I understand that. Makes sense. I was
Anyhow,
trying to pull it out of you. See, that's we're actually here to talk about the board.
I actually am. Yeah.
See, all right.
It's very important to me. So elected to the board, it's killing me.
Don't look at him.
2 years ago, I was elected to the board. It was an honor, I have to tell you. That may sound cliche, but it is not. Getting onto the Board of Education, I did realize that all of these years, I didn't give the superintendent or the Board of Education enough credit. I was always one of those people that said, what are they doing? They're not doing enough. Since my time being on the board, it has been a large learning curve. I will not say otherwise. So I feel that I am a best candidate. I've hit that learning curve and I can hit that ground running, knowing what we've been through, especially with a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get through a pandemic, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel more comfortable now that you've had a couple of years on the board?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Through my time, again, I've made sure I made an account of talking to students, whether it's at baseball games or football games or what have you, speaking to teachers, speaking to parents and finding out what's going on with their children. And it really matters on the age group of the child. You know, whether you're talking to someone that has a child in kindergarten or first grade versus someone in middle school versus someone in high school. Their needs socially and emotionally and academically are so very different. And my eyes have been opened to those different levels of needs. And I have to say that it's not only made me a better board member, but it's made me a better person.
I'm sure you could see at home just with the kids.
I do.
You know exactly how the pandemic, I mean, we could see it at home too, you know, how it affected the kids too.
Yeah. And they come from a home where, husband and wife, we've been together
Yeah.
for 26 years. We have a loving home. There are lots of children out there that don't have that luxury. And those are the children that we really are concerned about.
Those roots are resilient.
Yes.
Resilient. Yeah, they're roots. Get it? Okay.
Stop.
You didn't even give your real estate agent a plug.
I work for Weichert Realtors, Browning and Browning.
How's Chuck?
You know my brother.
Chuck's your brother?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew your mom too.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank you.
she was a teacher.
She was a teacher. I come from a huge background.
You're
of
a Browning?
I'm a Browning.
Holy crap!
There's a road named after her. So
I didn't-
she certainly has roots.
See, now
didn't
you
know
learned
that.
something else about me today.
All right, so Chuck and I went to go see.
I don't want to know.
All right.
That has to be off record. No, I love my brother. When I had my own in-home daycare business here. Oh my gosh, for 12 years. And then I just decided, my kids are playing sports all the time. I'm having trouble getting to their games, shuffling them with my husband's work schedule. So I decided I'll take the real estate class. I'll work as my mother's assistant. Well, I ended up drumming up so much business that she became my assistant. So we always laughed at that. And then my mom's been gone for almost 9 years. So I miss her terribly every day. I looked for advice still. Mom, what would you do? How would you get this transaction to the finish line? So Chuck, I work for my brother. Yep.
This is wild.
We'll have conversations.
Yeah.
He's great to me. I don't really see him. We're just, he's busy. He's also running the business, but he's flipping houses. He's building houses. So, I just text
Good for
him.
him.
Hey,
Good
I
for
did
him.
this. Okay, gotta go. But yeah, that's where. Yep. My maiden name is Browning, and so we have a lot to talk about later. Mike,
That's awesome. Yeah. I'll just say that I've been in his Saab 9000 S Turbo. So
Yup.
years ago.
Yep. The one that
What?
probably eventually hit a wall or something.
It
somewhere.
did? Oh, I wasn't in that one.
No, but yeah,
we
those
went
are-
to a concert.
Oh, I'm gonna have to text
Worcester.
him. I will be on the phone with him later, checking this one out.
Yeah, I sold him $400. Dude. So anyway.
Don't bring that up.
Jamie.
Hi.
Hi. See, we got extra time with you, so we can just, because we have other things to talk to you about as well. So you're on the board now currently,
Yes.
and give us an idea of why you are also qualified to be on. You got to come up to the microphone.
Sorry.
That's okay. Why are you qualified to be on the Board of Education?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background. I've lived in Griswold for 20 years. My husband and I have 3 children. I was appointed to the Board of Education, to fill a vacancy back in August of 2020. So I've only been on the board for a little over a year, but when I was appointed, it was literally 3 weeks before kids went back to school for the first time since they had been out with COVID in March, and how the board was going to navigate in the administration all of those changes and do their best to keep the kids in school with the cohorts and the distancing. It was a really crazy time to decide to jump into that and get my feet wet. I've kind of spent the last year just sitting back and learning the ropes, because there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot to learn. I worked for the town of Griswold for 13 years, 6 years in the finance department, and 7 years as the assistant town clerk. I think that background really helps in my role in the with the Board of Ed. I'm familiar with the budget cycle. I used to do the Board of Finance recording secretary
Talking about the
position.
meetings and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a
Gotcha, yeah.
history of seeing how things have changed and progressed with the school budget over the years. I think, like with a lot of other parents, when COVID happened, we really sat back and said, okay, what can we do? What can be done? I've heard over the years a lot of people complain about different things within the school. I've seen from when my youngest started school in, 12 years. He just graduated. So from his kindergarten experience to my middle daughter's kindergarten experience to my youngest daughter's kindergarten experience, how much education has changed over the years. What is expected of these kids is completely different, even, from year to year, from child to child. And I don't think enough people understand that. So to me, it's really important to be able to offer a voice to the board as a parent and to the community as a board member, and really make sure that there's open lines of communication and everybody understands, what's going on, and from both sides.
Got it. All right. So here's I'm gonna present the exact same question that I did to the DTC, and basically talk about the business of the business. I don't know if that's a term that you heard me use when I was talking to the Democratic Town Committee candidates. When it comes to education, of course, Griswold wants students to come from other towns. We want sending towns, whether it's Baltic, Lisbon, Voluntown, Norwich, Preston, wherever you want them to come from, whatever. But there are also kids that leave and go elsewhere. Now, when I was in high school, at Griswold High School, the only schools that really any of the kids went to were either St. Bernard's, Norwich Tech, Ellis Tech, and maybe a smattering to Southeastern Tech in Groton. Now they're going to private schools. Now they're going to Killingly. I have a hard time believing that the kids are going for a VOAG program. God bless them. They're going there to play sports. They're going there to play for that big red machine who's incredible every single year. Let's just Soren Reef, Jack Sharp. He played Griswold Youth for a while. Cole Gear. Yeah. Not even just football, but look at Dylan Fryer, Cheshire Academy. These are all kids that would certainly benefit, our sports program, which has a huge and rich history. Oh, you got time.
No, it was buzzing, and I'm like,
oh, okay, all right. Look back. Bill Dawley, who was an all-star pitcher, major leaguer that went to Griswold High School. Roger LaFrancois, who just retired as a coach from the St. Louis Cardinals.
Griswold has a huge background in athletics.
Archie Drobiak was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates, as a first baseman for Griswold High School. So my question is concerning around the football field. Football field is right now, it's beat up. It's old. There's no drainage. and it gets ripped up very, very easy now. Same thing with the baseball field. You get a little bit of rain, you've got a lake at shortstop.
Correct.
So why would kids want to stay here for that when they can play on brand new turf in Killingley?
Well, I'll
So-
take that one.
Shannon will take.
I'm
that.
gonna
She's
let you guys roll with that one.
She's the chair of the ad hoc committee for the field and turf.
So probably about a year into being on the board, again, having children both playing on the baseball and football fields, I certainly recognized that our fields were in deplorable condition. I'll be honest with you. The football field is in very rough shape. I do recognize the importance of athletics, team building, working together, socialization. Those are all parts of sports. I, along with colleagues, created this ad hoc committee. I am the chair of that committee. And the purpose of that is to revitalize our athletic fields on Griswold Public Schools campus. Over the past year, the committee and I have worked diligently with turf field experts and engineers. We have created a Facebook page where you can actually go on and donate to this project. We will be moving forward within the next month or so to bring some items to the Board of Finance. So it is certainly something that I have great passion over. I just want to point out that to clarify something someone else had said, this is not a football field. This is a multi-purpose turf field with a 8-lane track that will be able
That you're looking to build.
Correct.
Okay.
We are looking to build this. Yes, we are proposing it. 8-lane track where we can hold state competitions and events, which would very much put Griswold on the map. With that said, there are children that can't do sporting events. Let's say the football is really all we have to offer down on that field right now. There are children that may be within walking distance that aren't interested in football that would be in lacrosse or other types of sports. That's the purpose for this multi-purpose field, so that we're encompassing as many sports and as many children as we can.
Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm even in the ballpark.
Mhm.
We're looking at a price tag of $4.3 million.
No.
Okay. That's what I
It's-
mean. What?
Yep, it's around $3 million.
To
So
do the 8-lane track.
to do the 8-lane track, to do so let's just say yes, that field is going to be completely ripped up.
Yep.
The problem that they're having is drainage. As we all know, drainage is a very serious
Right.
part of
Oh,
why.
it's a mud bowl sometimes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they will dig all of that up. We will mill down that track, which I'm not sure if you've seen any of the pictures that I've posted. Is a tripping hazard. And
Oh, I've been down there many times.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I'm sure
understand.
you understand.
Oh, yeah.
Our community goes there to walk and to socialize. So that's also going to be a huge benefit to the rest of the community as well. But yeah, the field will be completely gutted, redone. The lighting will be removed. Energy efficient lighting will be installed.
Please get rid of that pole at the 50-yard line.
And then there's the pole. Those will come out as well.
Thank you.
Can I just kind
Nope,
of
you're
jump on
done.
that?
You got extra time, kid.
Extra
you
time. It didn't feel like extra.
All right. Good.
She wants to.
I kind of want to speak to your initial part of the question. Actually, my daughter does attend Killingley. She does not do sports. She is in the VOAG program. But I am on the public relations subcommittee for the Board of Ed. And over the last year, we've really focused on how to market our district. And sports is always a big one. Drama is always a big one. But there's a lot of kids that don't do either. I mean, yes, there's athletes, there's actors and musicians, but there's a big pool of kids that kind of
Esports.
fall somewhere in between.
You're talking about esports?
Actually, I wasn't.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
I was just saying that
Because that's been big. That's been.
it has
yeah.
been huge. I think that Griswold School District is really trying to get to the point where they can offer something for everybody. Yes. Do we have an amazing athletic field at the moment? No. But if you're going to Griswold, you're going to play. If you go to NFA, you're probably not going to play. there's the differences like that, and you have to find the selling points for what we have to work with at the moment. And I think we're trying really hard to be able to find something for everybody and to continue to grow our district and make it more appealing to people and have those conversations. What can we do to make this attractive to kids? Because there is a lot of competition out there.
Yeah. And I mean, personally, myself, and this is a personal statement, I'm a big fan of Steve Cravino. Now, Steve and I have had conversations and stuff like that. And one thing that I found that's been congruent in every single conversation that I've had with Steve is he is about the kids. And, he even said to me, before, he goes, yeah, they're going to play. They're going to play here. Yes, Griswold has an amazing music program, headed up by Ray Churchill. There's nobody better. There's nobody better. You couple that with the sports program, boom. Griswold could be back in its glory day. I mean,
that's what we're trying to
very-
do. And I think that's where we're moving. I mean,
we are moving there. It's very competitive out there with our tuition towns, but in the past couple of years, we've onboarded 2 more towns. We've onboarded.
Is it Norwich and Preston?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in December, Mr. McKenna and I, our superintendent, hope to be getting out to another district that has reached out to us to send students in, regardless of what building you go to. If you're regular ed, special ed, or you go to the alt school, you're part of Griswold Public Schools. You are important to us. Everybody gets a very good education, and we are doing things for every group that we can. I mean, our Nexus, they've got e-gaming, e-sporting, they've got animation going on. Yep. They've got a team that they compete now. So, and it's an incredible room. Yet we also did it in the middle school, just a little bit less than that, so that it would pique their interest and they'd say, I'm going on to Griswold High School because I want that Nexus room. We changed our library media centers. The high school's now called the Commons, the Library Commons. The middle school, the kids are having a contest at what they want to call their new library media center. We put in money into our weight room for our athletes because the equipment was old. So we're going with new equipment. It's just on back order right now, like everything else in the world.
So are eggs.
So, it's very important, that we're meeting every student's needs, and every student is important to us. I chair the negotiation budget subcommittee, so I know what our budget is. I know it inside and out by the time it's getting to the public and the Board of Finance. I'm also on the policy committee, and that we have a policy servicing that helps us with our policies. They design our policies, but we keep everything in mind of every single student. Every student is important to us.
I don't disagree that every student's important. However, we're at a time now where inflation is rising very highly. We have no really income coming into town right now. I mean, how are we going to get all these changes in? We don't have any money coming in. You're going to raise taxes on people everybody talks about the kids. We know they're important, but there's a lot of people in this town don't have kids. We all know when it comes budget time.
But they did at one point.
And that's
true. But what I'm saying is right now it's, we got to go to the education budget. We got the town budget. And we know there's a fight between the two.
I totally agree.
That's what's happening.
The town budget's just as important to me so that we meet the other services that the taxpayers need. Yeah. When we develop a budget, I'm keeping in mind what our students need, but also as a realtor, I'm keeping in mind the demographics of the town. Yeah. I have been in the best of markets. I've been in the tanking of markets where I dealt with foreclosed homes. Now it's a good market again, but it will come back down. Yeah. But I keep everything in mind because I am a taxpayer here. I don't have children in the school system, but the way I look at it is somebody voted for that budget for my kids who didn't have anybody in the school system. True. I have to pay back.
Yeah. I for a long time, I've heard there's kind of been this divide between school things.
We're going to have to move on after this.
Yeah, okay, sure. So. No problem. I think that you need to look at it as the big picture. Like investing in our school system is an investment in our future. Not to mention the fact that the more that the district is able to offer, we bring in tuition revenue, which helps. It goes back into the general fund. So that is, over the last few years, we have generated some serious income that has gone back into the general fund, which ultimately helps offset the general government budget. So we're seeing a return on that money.
Investment.
All right, folks, thank you very much. We're going to keep Jamie in here. I mean, we did
Thank you,
spend
everyone.
we did spend extra time because I personally I feel that this is one of the more important subjects in town, is because we're grooming our youth to be
Our
future
future.
Board of Education members, future for selectmen, select women, whichever.
Absolutely.
So I think it's very, very important. Chris, I know you had a statement.
That's okay.
You sure?
I'll save it for the next one.
All right.
I am the next group.
Jamie is the next.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Mary
Talk
Beth.
record about my property.
Oh, poor Chuck. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Mike.
So Jamie Eaton's here.
Hey.
Go over to this one
Okay.
now. Chris, if you want to pop on that one.
I feel like
Okay, there we go. So, I mean, we're not really going to need 15 minutes, for this segment, but another office that, or another seat or job that you are applying for, it's basically what you're doing. You're applying for a job. You're running for town clerk. Tell us why. Tell us why you're running and why you're the best choice.
So as I said earlier, I worked for the town of Griswold for 13 years, 7 of those as the assistant town clerk. I am a certified town clerk. I just have to say that I think that Griswold is in a really great position right now because they are fortunate to have 2 qualified candidates running for town clerk. And typically you don't have one qualified town clerk running. So I'm running because the Republican Town Committee endorsed me. I didn't have the plan to run for town clerk. I left the town and moved on to something else. And at their endorsement meeting in July, they decided not to cross endorse Valerie Pudva, which is the incumbent, and threw my name in. And it was just as much as a surprise to me as anybody else. And I took some time to think about it. And I think that this town, these residents and voters are really looking for a change. And whether it has to do with they think Griswold needs a change, or they think that the state or the country or whatever it may be needs to move in a different direction than where it's been moving. Who am I to say no if somebody comes to me and asks me to be a part of that? So that's why I ran.
Okay.
I've heard a lot about, Valerie Pudva, she's been town clerk for over 30 years. She's got a lot of experience. She absolutely does. But I can say that when I started in that office in 2014, things were, the processes and the way of doing things was changing. That year, the state of Connecticut rolled out a different way to do vital records, birth records at the time. Just in the last year, they introduced that for death records. The election process, as far as now, it's an online system that you use to issue absentee ballots and track your who's voting. That has changed, and that's all online now. So while she has 30 years of experience, I think that her and I both learned over the last 7 years together how to do things the new way and where it's moving. So I would say that we're pretty on an equal playing field in that aspect. We learned it together.
Okay. Chris, you want to go ahead?
Well, let's start with the basics.
Sure.
30-second sales pitch. What exactly does the town clerk do?
They do everything.
It's a busy place.
Everything.
They
If
put up
you-
street signs.
Okay,
and-
well, not that. All right. So, any land records, so your mortgages, your deeds, liens, anything like that that gets recorded on property gets recorded through the town clerk's office. They're in charge of recording those, keeping those records, all vital records, birth, marriage, deaths, anything that happens in the town of Griswold gets stored in that office. So they deal with issuing those, tracking those, reporting them to the state and other towns. Dog licensing happens in the month of July. We issue marriage licenses. election processes and referendums, all of that goes through the town clerk's office. It's a really busy place to be, and it's something different every day. You know, I think the challenge is there's certain things that you only do certain times a year. So with elections, you only have a municipal election, you know, every couple of years. You only have a state election or a presidential election every couple of years, and everything is a little bit different. So having somebody in that office with the knowledge and the background is going to be really helpful, as opposed to if somebody different was coming in, which is why I think that, again, Griswold's in a great position, because regardless of who wins the election, somebody coming in is going to know what they're doing.
Got it.
Okay. So real quick, my second question would be, moving from assistant town clerk to the town clerk, what's the biggest change that you will bring?
I just think I have a different approach on how I deal with customers, and the service that they get. That office sees people at all different stages of life, going through all different things. You will meet people who have just lost family members. You will meet people who are going through the foreclosure process. You will meet people who come in and just had babies or are getting married, and you need to be able to empathize with certain situations. Not just offer that cold humdrum, okay, here you go, to really be there to help people. And when they walk away, feel like they had a great experience. At the end of the day, we're public servants, and that's our job, is to serve the public. So to me, that's important.
Okay.
There's a question, and I don't know if I understand it. I'm going to read it just the way maybe you will. How would this change voting for the incumbent or someone new? I have no idea what that means. In other words, maybe it's being asked, what's going to change with you instead of the incumbent that is currently in office?
As far as how people vote?
Or really just, kind of put it out there,
what brings you up a higher level than the incumbent? What do you bring that would be better?
Why are you going to do why do you think you're going to do a better job than Valerie Pudva?
I don't know. I'm not here to say anything negatively about anybody.
No.
I think that, again, people are looking for a change. They came to me for that. And, that's it. I think Valerie, is competent, and she knows her job. I think that, again, I can walk into that office, and the transition to the
you can hit the ground running.
Is going to be seamless.
Yeah.
I think that there's some things that are important in that office. When I was there shortly before I left, we transitioned from, we used to lease the computer hardware that we do all of our indexing through. So we paid for the indexing service, and we paid to lease the equipment. And we did some investigation and found that it was cheaper to buy the equipment on our own. I was kind of really a big part of that process. Probably my experience working with the budget and everything helped me with that. But I think that it's really important to come up with a capital plan to submit to the Capital Improvement Committee for the town clerk's office, because it is outgrowing the vault and what that has to offer going forward. It's outgrowing its space, and that's going to be a huge investment. And if we can get ahead of that and plan and put it, as part of capital improvement, and put a little bit of money away over the years to prepare for that, that's thinking with the residents in mind.
Got it.
Yeah.
We beat you up enough.
Thank you.
That's what we do.
Yeah. I thank you for being the
Yeah.
way you acted, because you could have really went negative on Valerie, and you didn't do that. And I thank you for
But
doing
in
that.
retrospect, she didn't go negative on her either. So
No, I know.
nobody,
So I'm
which has
just
been
saying-
nice on all the offices. So
I don't, that's not how I operate. I just, regardless of how anybody feels, I just want people to go out and vote on November 2nd. whichever direction you vote in. As I said, this wasn't something that I had planned to do. I just think it's really important for people out there to actually get out and take that action instead of complaining about things.
Very good.
Speaking of voting, hopefully on the 1st, which is Monday, the day before Election Day, we're going to be able to have, hopefully, it's in the works. It's not a done deal yet, but Jen Gauthier is going to come back in and strictly speak to the process of voting and make sure you're registered. And if you're not registered, how do you get registered? And what do you do on Election Day if you're not registered? And all that stuff. So we're going to try to do our part here to make sure people have all the information that they possibly can digest when it comes to voting in one of our local elections, because I think people get so wrapped up in national stuff that they forget about what's happening in their own hometown.
Starts here.
Exactly.
Starts on the local level.
Exactly.
Building relationships with people so they can represent the town to your state reps, your senators. That's how you do things for Griswold. You get things done by building those relationships. So getting qualified candidates who have the best interest of Griswold in office, that's going to help us on not just a local level, but on a state level.
Got it. All right, Jamie, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me. Don't
Thank
forget
you.
to vote.
Don't forget to vote. That's probably one of the most important messages that are out there today. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we still have a couple of boards to talk to candidates on. We're going to talk to Dave Bennett he's running for planning and zoning. And then after that, we're going to talk to somebody, I think Dave's kind of familiar with, Dana Bennett, as she's running for first selectman, opposing Todd Babbitt, the incumbent. We will get to that in a moment right here on SNSN.
So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
Hurricane season is upon us. Did you know insurance companies can issue moratoriums that prevent you from securing coverage when there's an impending storm? Homeowners, business owners, property owners, act now. Don't let your coverage leave you out in the rain. The licensed professionals at the Burns Agency are here to help. Call, email, or chat with us online today. Don't let the next natural disaster become an insurance disaster. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
Hi, this is Alan Gear. You may know me as Mr. Jewett City. I want to tell you about my experience with our local eye doctor, Dr. Joel Zuckerbrun. I recently had cataract surgery, and I was told that I needed new glasses. I didn't know what to do because the problem was this was right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Where the heck was I going to get glasses? I checked places that make glasses. I looked online, and what I found was my solution was practically in my own backyard. So I called Dr. Z, as most people know him. His office is right on North Main Street, right here in the borough of Jewett City. I went to my appointment and had my glasses faster than I would have thought possible. Called Dr. Zuckerbrun at 376-2848. I trust Dr. Z with my eyesight, and you should too. Make an appointment today.
Hello, I'm Miranda Mahoney, Project Coordinator of Griswold Pride, your drug-free community coalition. We want to help you keep your kids safe during this challenging time. Social distancing is still in effect, and so is the social host law. Reports are coming in that teens are contracting the virus at underage drinking parties. Parents, allowing underage drinking on your property could land you in jail for up to a year, plus fines. Another reason why you should not provide alcohol to our youth. For more info, go to griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org.
Gambling, tobacco, and alcohol are all legal for adults. For those under 21, providing these things can land you in jail. It's 21 for a reason. Be someone your child can depend on and trust. Model behavior that expresses you care about them and their choices. Encourage them to wait until 21 to try alcohol. It is 21 for a reason. Visit CRACCT.org for more information. Brought to you by CRAC and funded in partnership with SAMHSA. It's 21 for a reason. Find out more at CRACCT.org.
The voice of Griswold, Jewett City and Plainfield, SNSN.
All right, we are back, everybody. Welcome back to the program here at SNSN. Today we are talking to the Republican Town Committee candidates in the town of Griswold. We had the, of course, the Democratic Town Committee come here on Monday, and you can, after this is done, you'll be able to view this. And if you've missed any of the interviews already with any of the boards that we've presented so far, whether it's Board of Finance, Board of Ed, Town Clerk, you can certainly review them at another time because they'll be posted. Is that not right, Paul?
That's correct.
So, get a text message there, Chris? What's going on?
Nothing. Completing the fifth.
It's personal phone time with Chris Day. All right. Usually we're out of here at 9.
Yeah.
On a Friday.
Breakfast is running late.
It is running late, but this is very, very important stuff. We do it once a year. You know, we do it with both parties.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a presence of the Libertarian or the Green Party, we do it for them too. But they don't. There's really no presence for that, unfortunately, in town. All right, here we go. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Walk right up to the microphone.
Sure.
There we go. Dave Bennett is running for planning and zoning in the town of Griswold. Now, tell me, are you currently an alternate on another board or planning and zoning or
I'm planning and zoning alternate right now.
Okay. All right. So how long have you been a P&Z, a member of the alternate or an alternate at this point?
This is coming up on my first year. Just wrapping up. My
Oh,
first
okay.
year.
So you're pretty new to the board and everything.
Yep, I am.
Okay. So we're going to ask you
Excuse me, wrapping up my second year.
2 years.
Yep.
Okay.
2019. Sorry.
So we're going to ask you the same question that everybody asks that comes in here is what makes you qualified to be on planning and zoning as opposed to Board of Finance, Board of Education, Board of Selectmen? Why planning and zoning?
My background mostly. I'm an engineer, graduate of the University of Connecticut. I'm employed at Electric Boat General Dynamics. And my job there started out as a system engineer. So we reviewed drawings, part of the initial spec development for my system. So that relates directly to like when we had the data centers come in and they had their initial document for us to review. That kind of was equivalent to a specification. So I know from electric boat experience that you got to get the system set up in order with the specification lined up to support that system development. So that's why my goals there, because if we don't have it in the specification, we're going to be in trouble and fighting it the whole time.
It's true. Yeah.
So
Because you're an engineer, are you not?
No, I'm not an engineer.
So you're really just
He plays one on TV.
yeah.
No, I was more towards analytical, and I actually was in management, so and on the IT side. So
Yep, and I was background also as a Navy veteran, 22 years retired.
Oh, thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And have a nuclear background in that. So that brings a lot of details. And
So you can blow Griswold up. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
not really.
He just knows where to put the bombs.
Let's just start new. He just knows where you put the bombs. That's all. Now, are you from Griswold originally, or the East Coast, or?
No, my father was in the service, so we've been all over the
Okay,
place.
all right.
I've been in Griswold about 25 years.
Mhm.
It's the longest I've lived any place. So
Oh, I would think, yeah. I mean, if your family is in the service, and you're probably moving all over the place.
Yep.
Where's the best place you lived? I mean, other than Griswold, but like, let me ask that differently. Like, what's the most unique place that you've lived in your travels, moving from place to place? Being in the military.
based on the living portion, I would say New York. I was up in there
Really?
for several years. I was born there. I lived there as a consultant. So
Whereabouts in here?
I was born in Saratoga Springs, and I lived in Syracuse, a little town called Liverpool, outside of Syracuse.
Liverpool, huh?
Yep. So there we.
You ever meet the Beatles?
Yeah.
I know.
That's the wrong Liverpool.
Well, wrong one.
All right.
Yeah, it was a neat little town. Got
Yeah.
a lot of new products introduced to the town. So when the people get to test those new products out. So.
How far is that from Elmira Heights? Because that's where my family's from. Elmira, Horseheads.
We were just above the Finger Lakes. I think in Elmira is a little bit north of Syracuse, I think.
Yeah.
We had, when I was a
It's
consultant.
about an hour and a half or so.
Yeah, we dealt with work up in Oswego and Rochester and down to White Plains. So.
Yeah, that's where my dad's from. And I go there. I haven't been there since really I was just a little guy. I was never really little, Chris. So, yeah.
I didn't want to go there, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
I was letting you live the
Because
dream.
I'm going to go ahead and live my best life and mention it anyway. But it's weird because, when I do go there now, I see things that I recognize. And I'm like, there's no reason I should recognize this stuff.
Yeah,
But I do.
yeah.
So it's pretty cool. What's it like living in a household where everybody where you and your wife want to run for public office? Is it, how is that? Because it's not, we don't have that in our house. Neither of us want to run for public office.
Well,
So.
it's exciting. It's demanding. It's obviously a commitment. Dana's been working on this for lots of years, and building up the RTC, and then working herself into the 2019 preparation for running for selectman. And then this year, with all the knowledge she gained, she's super prepared for again. So
Now, how did that help you?
It helps me with her background in the town and things she knows. Then, as a planning and zoning person, you get more kind of the background on the things that are coming in, things that are important for the town. Obviously the economic development is huge in this town. We need that. And we had an incident, with the solar farm came in and it wasn't ready. We missed an opportunity to have a lot of taxes come in on that. And I think, and what I bring to the board for that one is the attention to detail. I would think I would have been all over that in terms of, figuring out how there was this acreage limit on that, but we're getting taxes, and we missed it. So
So what's happening with the solar farms now? They're out there.
Yeah, they're out there, but we're not getting if you will, the generation tax that we could be.
Right.
But they're just
They were pretty
basically-
smart when they came in.
Yeah, and we weren't the only town that didn't get full advantage of. There's a table online shows lots of them that got missed.
So I'm assuming that with the possibility of the data centers coming into town, that's something that you guys are going to look at as well.
Yes, that is huge. That
Once
should
bitten,
be-
twice shy kind of thing.
Yeah. We're going to be staying on top of it. And that's why we pushed for the noise consideration. We want them to be good neighbors. And there's a way to have those things come in and be relatively quiet. And I don't want it to turn into the Griswold to be an industrial wasteland. We don't want that. And I don't want the town or the people's, anything happening to the houses around there. And it's a tremendous opportunity for the town. But we just got to, if you will, keep our head in the game.
Do you have anything, Chris?
Yeah, Dave. If you're in charge of the P&Z, what is your vision for where Griswold is 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
I'd like to see us, if you will, stepped up more in terms of like town appearance and things like that. I just like us to be a little sharper looking. I don't think we need to I'm not envisioning us to turn into a Hartford or anything like that. I just want us to be a more inviting town. Dana's found out that there's a lot of tourists here, so I think we need to capitalize on that. So we need more, businesses kind of geared around the tourist and take advantage of the Patchogue Pond or the river down there. Maybe there's an opportunity for like a Providence water fire type environment or something like that, just to draw people in, keep them here. That's what my vision is, just to see the town improve, just to kind of get a different look to it. That's all.
Now, Paul, these sound like things like EDC had been looking at for a long time. Yeah,
they were all discussed at EDC.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was no money to be able to do them. There was talk about even a campground alongside of the river and things like that. I mean, we talked about a walk going along the river from up there, and I mean all those kinds. We talked about revitalizing the town, making all the facades fixed on the town.
Well, I think the Riverwalk, the biggest problem for that wasn't that going across Burleson Lane right over there was going to be $1.2 million for a bridge.
So all the things you talked about have been talked about before. Yep. And we tried to do them, but without any capital coming in, you can't do much.
No, Dana and I drive around the countryside, obviously, and we've seen a lot of things. Like one of the towns we were in, Great Falls, Montana, they had kind of a river walk, if you will, above the area, and they had like concrete benches that somebody had made, and so they were kind of, sturdy items. It wouldn't need a lot of maintenance, and the walk was kind of maintained as kind of a gravel walk. So I think there's a variety of solutions. We just have to want to do it and be creative about how we're going to finance it.
Yeah, that's the issue right now is finance, because we don't have any income coming in.
Yep, that's correct.
A lot of things I hear about is different organizations want donations. Well, that runs dry at it, and I don't know if this is really fair to say, a P&Z, because you guys aren't. I mean, you're dealing with zoning. You're not really dealing with text amendments and changing. What Class B to Class Z or C or whatever, but so it's hard to say, or ask you about the money. I'm sure you're aware of it, but it's not something that P&Z deals with. So with the lay of the land, and P&Z is probably the board I know the least about, to be honest with you. But with the lay of the land, what is something that would be beneficially positive or economically positive for Griswold as far as producing a tax base with the land that's available? I mean, I'm sure there are things that have been talked about, bringing in. And I've seen you at meetings. I know you have your finger on the pulse and stuff. So if you could give us an idea.
In terms of my envision of what could come in, type of thing. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. What do you think would be appropriate, or like if something came to the Planning and Zoning Commission, what would be something that you think would be appropriate or an appropriate fit for Griswold that would generate income? That would be something that maybe if it does need some sort of text amendment or whatever to get him in here. What have you put much thought into that at all?
Well, like we said, we talked about the tourist population. Like I said, when we go visit Dean's or some of the other Charlene's Diner, that was just purely out of town people coming in. So I would envision like more kind of coffee shop type things. And we have the Patchogue Pond, and there's tournaments that come here with the bass fishing. I would envision maybe some sort of high end, like Cabela's type Bass Pro Shops coming here, something like that, because we have the background in business. We have a lot of hunting and fishing in the area too, hunting and besides the fishing. So,
but Cabela's, let me ask you this: it's kind of a tricky question, actually. You're right? I think Cabela's would be a nice fit here, but we'd have to have some sort of development that would hold more than one retailer. And having, because Cabela's is an anchor, but not really an anchor, so to speak. Why would they come here and not go to Lisbon, where Dick's Sporting Goods is? I mean, there's a natural fit right over there.
Well, I think
because AMC is not going to be around too much longer.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we have the land here along the highway. There's highway access. We have several properties along the highway, so I think that would help for our business. You know, this the property, Stott's property along there could be turned into like a little mini, I'll call it boutique mall type of thing. So that,
agree with you.
you know, just to draw some people in here, make us a stop. We're on the way to Rhode Island. You know, a lot of people pass through to go to Newport. So I would think some of those type of, you know, touristy type shops would work here.
I think the boat's been missed on a lot of different things as far as Griswold is concerned, because we are right on the way to almost everything.
Mhm.
We're smack dab in the middle of you know, pretty much Hartford, Worcester, and Providence.
Well, I think with people moving now into the rural areas, I think now it opens an opportunity. And I think when the infrastructure gets in, I think we'll see changes happen.
Yeah, I think that's gonna.
And don't
Yeah,
forget,
big.
we've been hit by a pandemic, so
Yeah.
everything is stopped.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as we get moving along, and as your job on zoning is to make sure that whoever comes in, that they're coming in and they're doing it right.
Yep.
That's pretty much. what
Yeah, and
the
we have to
job-
make sure our regulations support that, and
Right.
we're
Or do we have
moving
to
with-
change anything to bring something in?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right. You have any questions or?
Yeah, have there been any projects in the last year or so since you've been on board with the PNC?
He's not on board right now.
He's an
He's
alternate.
an alternate,
Well,
but he's there.
But
Okay,
I mean, as an
gotcha.
alternate. Has there been any businesses that you guys have had to say no to because of zoning issues or anything?
Yeah, well, I guess recently, the last meeting, Mr. Compatera wanted to change his property from commercial to industrial. So we said no to that. That's a zoning change, and I was the one that led the charge on that because our industrial regulations weren't set up. We're going to be in the same situation as where he's at now with the commercial. We'd have all these bounding actions on or bounding requirements on him and his business and stuff. So other than that, no, we haven't said anything to no to anybody. With the gentleman that owns the property next to the Comfort Inn, you know, we extended some his funding. Where we extended, the state said we could extend his tax base, or excuse me, he had paid a lot of fees and stuff to the town. We could extend that now to allow him to continue to sell the property. He was lining it up to sell it to Cumberland Farms, and that didn't work out. So he paid a lot of money to keep it rolling. I mean, to make that happen. And so we extended the time period along with the state, within the state guidelines for him to continue to try and sell that property. I think it's right next to the highway, right next to Comfort Inn. Be a great location for
TGI Fridays.
Danny's.
Yeah.
Danny's.
God, I want a grand slam.
Or four.
Anything,
No.
Dave? Do you have anything else that you want to mention that we did not ask or didn't allude to? You know, as far as you running for planning and zoning a full seat.
No, like I said, I think I'd be a good fit for it as a full-time planning and zoning member, just based on like I said, my background, attention to detail, and focusing on the big picture of making sure that Griswold has the right things happen for the town, and supporting the future of Griswold, and making sure these business opportunities that come in are good neighbors.
One question that came in here at the 11th hour from Roxana. I am moving home to Connecticut, Griswold area, and would love to open a business, but I am concerned that we would not be embraced well because it's not the usual. So not sure what that means.
What is not
that
the
can
usual?
go 75 different ways to Sunday. I don't know. So
I guess we'd have to know more facts about the
you'd have to
business,
know
but-
more about the business, right?
But
you
you
know,
know, I think the planning and zoning board, the way it's set up, is gets a fair assessment. Everybody that comes in, they supply their.
As long as they're
application.
meeting zoning regulations, you really wouldn't get involved, right?
like a bakery, she says. Now I know Roxana. She lives in Indiana currently.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably zoning regulations
moving back.
related to a bakery. You just have to make sure they follow them. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's
So,
correct.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think everybody would get a fair evaluation.
Sure,
There's,
sure.
you know, we're wanting other businesses to come in. So.
Yeah.
Roxy wouldn't do anything kooky either, so she's cool. She's good folk. Right, Rox? She's not going to talk. Dave, thank you very much for coming on in.
Yeah, thank
We
you very
appreciate it.
much.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good luck. You know, in your bid for your seat on planning and zoning. All right, we're going to take one more quick break, and then we're going to finish up the show with First Selectman candidate Dana Bennett right here on SNSN.
Don't just wish for a winning deal. Make it Dish. It will make it real. Don't just wish. Make it Dish.
Hey everyone, this is Ellis Dish from Dish Motors. We're back better than ever with our new sales and service center on Route 32 in North Franklin. Everyone says there's nothing better than dealing with the dishes, and here's why. Selection. We have the area's largest inventory of off-lease, one-owner vehicles of all makes and models. You name it, we got it, or I'll get it for you at no additional charge. Quality. Each vehicle goes through a rigorous 120-point safety and quality check. Nothing leaves the lot without my personal approval. Convenience. We have financing sources for almost any situation. We offer on-site registration processing, and we have maintenance programs for years of stress-free ownership. And now open for all your maintenance needs. Our full-service repair facility, where oil changes start at just $19.99. Call today for your appointment or just stop by. So save thousands and deal with the dishes. Route 32, North Franklin. Or check us out online at dishfranklin.com. Or ring us, 860-383-4750.
Don't just wish. Make it Dish.
Family owned and operated. That's something you don't hear too often anymore. Highway Campers of Plainfield is now 3 generations in and going strong. If you're looking to upgrade or get your first RV, contact the family that knows RVs, Highway Campers. They'll walk you through the process of finding the right RV for you and can even finance it for you. Visit www.highwaycampers.com and find your home on wheels. After all, home is where you park it. Highway Campers is a proud supporter of Griswold Youth Football.
Hello, I'm Miranda Mahoney, project coordinator of Griswold Pride, your drug-free community coalition. We want to help you keep your kids safe during this challenging time. Social distancing is still in effect, and so is the social host law. Reports are coming in that teens are contracting the virus at underage drinking parties. Parents, allowing underage drinking on your property could land you in jail for up to a year, plus fines. Another reason why you should not provide alcohol to our youth. For more info, go to griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org. griswoldpride.org.
Life is full of choices. At Jewett City Savings Bank, we can make one choice easy, finding the right checking account. We offer a range of affordable accounts to fit your budget and needs, and each gives you the freedom to access your money the way you want, online, through our mobile app, or with your debit card. It's your money and your choice. To learn more about the account that's right for you, stop by one of our offices or visit us at jcsbank.com. Jewett City Savings Bank, member FDIC.
All right, good morning. Welcome back to the program, everybody. We've had some really good conversations this morning from the Republican Town Committee candidates. First, the Board of Finance candidates Valerie Grills and Tom Pulaski. Then we had Mary Beth Malin, Shannon Webster, and Jamie O'Neill Eaton, who are seeking Board of Education seats. They are all sit on the Board of Education currently. They're looking for re-election. And then we kept Jamie around for a little bit because she's also running for town clerk. We just spoke to Dave Bennett, who is running for a full seat on planning and zoning. He's currently an alternate on planning and zoning. How do you think things have gone, Paul, so far this morning?
Well, I think they went very well. I hope they didn't take any comments we made as being negative. I think we're just trying to ask questions.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I can say for myself is my goal is to learn.
Yeah.
You know, about the candidates,
So I
what
think-
they're running for, how they're going to do a better job than folks that are in there already. And
Yeah, I mean,
You
what,
know?
what better platform do you have than to have people tell us your background and how you're qualified to do a job? I mean, a sign on the street doesn't tell me who you are. You know, a picture doesn't show me who you are. You're going to tell me what your background is and what kind of a job you're going to do. That was the whole objective of doing this.
yeah, I mean, even Heather Summers said to me a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. She said signs don't win elections. So I don't know why y'all do it. Everybody does it. I don't know why.
They're everywhere.
It doesn't make much
Not in this
sense to
town,
me.
but every town you go.
No, it's everywhere. It's
Everywhere.
not just one set of people. No, not at all. Okay, Dana Bennett, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great. Thank you for having all of us. I
Oh,
appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Glad to do it. So you're running for board of well, I should say first selectman.
I am.
Okay. And I'm so used to saying board this, board that. So, but you're running for first selectman here in the town of Griswold, and you had run 2 years ago against Mr. Babbitt, and now we're doing it all over again. What's different this time?
What's different this time is I think I've
For you, I should say.
for me.
Yeah, for you.
I think I've I really have spent a lot of time the last 2 years paying attention to the things that are going on in town government. One of the things that I have really done is there's 22 boards, committees, and commissions in Griswold, and I have attended all but 3 of them at least once in the last couple of years, and many of them multiple times. And I've gotten some familiarity with all of the things that are going on in town through the different boards. And I think what is really important is that somebody who's in the leadership position has a lot of communication with those boards and understands what is operating on those boards, because you can't really see it. Anybody's read the minutes from some of these meetings. You can't really tell from the minutes what's really happening unless you're at the meeting.
No, that is for sure.
Yeah.
You can't. You don't know what's going on. The only thing you can really do is you can go down to the town hall or and ask for the recordings or whatever.
Right.
Bring a thumb drive. That's all I can say, so they can put them on there for you. So, what makes you want to be first selectman? I mean, we know that it's a little different this time. You're a lot more educated as far as the town. As far as you say, why Griswold? Why do you want to lead this town? And actually, I'm going to caveat that right into probably a question from Lynn Cassidy. It says, my question is for the first selectman candidate. What is your vision for the town of Griswold, and what changes do you want to make for the future?
Well, this is where I am. I've been here for 16 years off and on. My husband and I left for a few years because his job was in South Carolina. He works for Electric Boat. We went down there for a while. I've kind of been off and on because I had parents in another state that needed some help before they passed, and then trying to take care of some of their estate and things like that. So I've kind of been in and out, but Griswold is where I am. I've been here. I love it here. I'm from Montana. I'm from a rural state. So Griswold's a perfect place for me to be because of the rural nature. I love the rural nature of it. But I also kind of see the vision of it. I see that we could be doing some different things. I think that we could have some different standards on, what do we want to do? We have been going around to different businesses during this campaign and having coffee or cocktails with the candidates and allowing people to come in and see us. And one of the things I've learned is so many of our restaurants are filled on weekends with tourists. We can stand there and talk to people as they're coming in. Norwich, all over Connecticut. And I think we need to capture some of that. Even talking to some of the business owners, they've talked about that for a long time, that we're maybe not focusing on some of the tourism piece. And with that, I think comes some really great ideas for what we could do. We were just talking out, do we call that the green room when we're out there?
Yeah. We actually have a green room downstairs, to be honest with you. Yeah.
We were in the upstairs green room. That's not painted green. But we were talking about Putnam. Even 2 years ago, I was talking about the things that Putnam has going are some of the things that we could maybe bring to town for our residents and for people that are coming through. If we have tourists coming in, let's try and capture some of those dollars, not just for breakfast over at Dean's Corner or at Charlene's Diner, but what else can we offer them? We've talked, I know you guys were trying to do a movie house and some arts things, and there's money out there, and I think people have an interest in being here. Let's keep them here.
Paul, I know
No, go ahead.
you had a load of questions the other day. Now all of a sudden we're like, nothing, huh?
I'll throw one out there. Dana, you were talking about the tourists in town here on the weekends. Is this a destination spot for tourism, or is it a drive-through for tourism?
I think because of where we're located, it really could be a destination spot.
Okay, but right now.
Right now, I think it's a drive-through. You know,
Okay.
I think because of the crossroads we have, we have 395, we have 138, we have 164. People are driving to the casinos. If we had some, we have great restaurants. If we had some other things people could do. I know that Heritage River Walk was talked about 4 or 5 years ago. They have a walk up in Putnam that's like that. If we had some of those kinds of things and people could say, hey, let's go to the park. I know they're having this. We've got a lot of youth center activities, and I know Mike's part of Park and Recreations now. And there are lots of things that people could do. We just need to figure out, how do we advertise that? How do we make it something so it is a destination?
Well, in order to do that, we need money.
Well,
that's the problem. No money.
The thing is, there's ways to do that. In December of 2020, there's the Eastern Connecticut Tourism Board. I believe that we have people involved in that. But in December of 2020, all of the surrounding towns got grants from that. Norwich got a grant. Voluntown got a grant. Mystic. I'm not sure, but I think there were 5 towns that are surrounding us. And why didn't we get a grant for something? Well, I'm a grant writer. I have experience grant writing, and the person that's running with me, Richard Matters, he wrote grants for Franklin. That's one of the things he did as first selectman. So we have 2 grant writers on our ticket that are ready to go in there and look at things.
One of the hold on, there we go. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, who is Dana Bennett?
Mm-hmm.
I get asked, and I say honestly, I don't know. I know what you put up on social media on what you've done, but can you expound on that? Like, for example, you talk about working for nonprofits and conflict management? Did I say
Conflict
right?
resolution.
Conflict
Mhm.
resolution. What who did you work for? And was this out west?
Mhm.
Okay. If you can give us an idea.
Let me tell you.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
absolutely.
Sure. So I spent most of my career out west.
Yep.
I worked in developmental disability services. At one point for the state of Montana, I designed community living services for the whole state. I had about a 10-hour person that was a consultant with me, but we designed all the systems. We designed the state statutes, the training manuals, the budgeting, any of the HR. I've got some training. I have all the training for HR to become an HR professional. So we developed all those systems. And then I traveled over the state of Montana, which is huge. The one corner of the state of Montana, if you go in the top left-hand corner and the bottom right-hand corner, there's a further distance there between the bottom southeast corner and the corner of Texas. So that tells you how big Montana is. And I traveled all over the state, and I trained everybody in the nonprofit agencies and the people that were providing the money through the Department of Public Health and Human Services. So then when I was done, and my son was ready to go to college, I sent him to college. I decided I'd go to graduate school. At the same time, my mother asked me if I wanted to email some guy that her physical therapist knew. And it was like, not really. I'm going to school. But Dave Bennett emailed me. And now I'm in Connecticut. So
love will get you every time. Doesn't it?
It happened. So he,
Oh, boy.
he of course works for EB.
Mhm.
At the time I was still in graduate school, and it was like, well, he's got the better job. I guess that's where I'm going. So moved here. He had his house in Griswold. We're still in the house that he bought when he bought the house in Griswold, and it's been a perfect place. Like I said, I've been back and forth, so I really haven't worked a lot full time, except last year I did. I was a partnership specialist for the Census Bureau, which means that I was responsible for New London County and for Windham County for all of the communities and towns. And I think there's maybe 36 or 38 towns. For all of the agencies and the towns and the leadership in towns, churches, medical centers, they would kind of have community organizations that would make sure that we got up the count for the census. And then after that job, I decided to I knew I was going to run again. And so I haven't really pursued employment past 2020. So that's kind of what I've done in a nutshell. I've got, like I said, the experience in conflict resolution. human resources, alternative dispute resolution, things like that.
What's
So-
alternative dispute resolution? Is that when we put on a mask and just sing kumbaya and figure who's
Jello
next to us?
wrestling.
You know,
Jello
it could
wrestling,
be.
yeah.
No, it encompasses everything. It encompasses mediation, negotiation, arbitration, facilitation, all of those kinds of things that you do before you go to court.
What's the difference between mediation and arbitration?
Mediation is sitting down with a neutral party where you have two parties sitting down with someone who's neutral to try to help them through it. Arbitration is more aligned with the judicial system. So it includes some more legal ramifications as you're doing it. You know, you know how you sign the things at the bottom of something that you agree to go to arbitration if you have a dispute with a company. Yeah.
Griswold right now is a town of, to me, it's like patchwork. There's this kind of business here, there's this kind of business here, there's this kind of business here. Yet, Jewett City, Griswold, I can't currently think of one thing. And I wish we've talked about this, you and I. Why does somebody need to come to Griswold? What do we have here that they can't get in just the surrounding towns? Like, you know, of course, you have Northeastern Connecticut. They have the 10-town area. You know, we would probably, you know, by surrogate be like the 12-town area. But what is something that Griswold has that people need to come here for? They can't get in Plainfield. They can't get in Norwich, Stonington, Baltic, or wherever. And what are things that you, as first selectman, would like to see brought in or built here?
Well,
that's a long question.
Are you talking about what do we have for residents?
No, business. Business.
You know, I think like we've been talking about, we need some kinds of destination places maybe for people to come to. But I think one of the problems that we really need to solve is taxes here. I talk to a lot of seniors when I'm knocking on doors or just people that I know. They're concerned about having to be able to pay their property taxes over time because things are going up. And it's not just in Griswold. It's nationally, it's statewide, but then Griswold impacts that when you still have the property taxes and some of those things here. So in order to combat those taxes and lower those taxes, we really need to do some economic development. So we do have some things kind of on the plate, you know, that potentially could come here. I think we need to look at those, but doing so, also maintaining what people like about Griswold, which is the rural nature. You know, we're not on the shoreline. We're not, you know, we're not Middletown or Norwich or something like that. We have a lot of rural places and people like their long driveways to their houses. They like living in the woods and we want to just maintain that for the residents that are here.
Yeah, but you can't have both.
Well, I think you can if you do it responsibly.
Because a lot of rural areas now are becoming infected with businesses or warehouses and things going in. That's the big thing right now.
Right. But I think you can do it responsibly. Like we're talking about the data centers. I think the data centers, if they come here with, you know, some of the noise attenuation things that they've talked about at planning and zoning, you know, and if they're more quiet, that's a business that isn't going to have a lot of in and out traffic, you know, like Amazon. The Amazon business will have a little bit more.
A little more traffic.
Yeah, but they're, you know, they're by the grocery store and things like that.
Yeah.
You're right by the highway too. They don't really go downtown or anything.
Yeah. So I think we need things like that. And, you know, we probably need, you know, some more restaurants that people can come to. I think that the more you have and the more retail operations you have, the more interested people are coming and staying. So
I don't know. My idea is take the building starting at Altoons and going down a couple and just knock them all to shit and rebuild and put a little strip mall over there. That's one thing.
Do you think that would go over in Griswold, a strip mall
Not
down
a strip
there?
mall, but just like a strip of retail organ. You know, there's what's over there now. Anything would be an upgrade.
Well, we have the barbershop is there?
The barbershop is there. You got a Chinese restaurant. Those are great things.
Laundromat.
Charlene's.
Yeah.
Charlene's Crystal Visions is gone. You got an attorney. You know, this is what I'm talking. They might not be there.
Right, Uncle Cranky's.
Yeah.
Well,
what do we, I mean, do we just build it up all with the restaurants, or what do we put there that people need to come here for? You have that like right there and go right down School Street, especially with River Church down there that's offering a lot of their stuff up, you know, for the town, like the community room that they have. I don't know. I think we need a grocery store.
Yeah, I think people have
You know?
talked about that. And I don't know if I can answer that completely without talking to the other businesses. I think we have so many good resources here, people that have businesses here right now. You know, we need to reach out to that coalition of business operators and say, what do you see? What's going to help your business? What's going to help Griswold? And then reach out to the residents again. So I can't really flatly answer that. I think I need more information from the town.
The other thing is too, and this is just my own thing, is that maybe even I think there's been a lot of attention given to downtown as far as how we can build it up. It's hard because you do. Plus, the buildings do have historic, value to them. And I love Crankies.
Yeah,
I love their fries and their food.
Yeah.
So says the fat guy. I love it.
The issue we have with trying to build up downtown and going after grants to build it up, people say, well, why are we spending that money for this? We should be spending it over there. And that's exactly what happened when we tried to clean up the streets in town with the benches and all the other stuff. Why did you spend all that money, with the lights and all that stuff? Well, the thing was to make the town beautiful.
Right.
But now you're going to get the negativity. Why are you spending the money?
Again, I think it goes back to communication.
Yeah.
How do you reach out to the people in town? How do you talk to them about it? How do you share the information? And, you're not going to have 100% people, 100% of the people that say, yeah, I want that. But, to visit with people and get the most participation that you can. Yeah. We've done that time and time again with things. Yeah. We've had a lot of votes recently where not a lot of people come out necessarily for town votes, but people vote. They have a choice.
Right. How do you feel about making the town meetings now online?
Absolutely. I think that I would like to see it go in that direction because people don't have a lot of time. And one of the things Griswold is kind of a commuting community. Yeah. There's a lot of people that commute. Yeah. They're on the road. So if they're on the road trying to get home by 6:00 and there's a 6:00 meeting, I think that it's easier for them to listen to it online or some other way.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's very true. I think
we need to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, just what we do here, we understand the value of that to try to pump out information. Because one of the things I see all the time, and I'm sure you see it too, is, oh, I didn't know about that.
Sure.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. It's something that it's just another way to bring information to people that usually just use Facebook, scroll.
And one of the things I've thought about as a first selectman is making myself available for, a monthly state of the town, state of Griswold, so that, I can do questions and answers. Facebook Live is a beautiful thing. You can get on. I've used it quite a bit. And
that's awesome for that type of stuff. I get it.
Right.
I think you're spot on with that. Anything to bring information to the residents.
Right.
I think people don't realize it's there.
Well, not everybody uses Facebook. So I think you have to use different mediums. Brian Lanou is down at the library, I think twice a month for office meetings, So if there's a way I can open the office, if people want to come in, and sometimes people won't. And sometimes they will. I mean, it's always open to people. But if you say these are specific office hours, I'm just going to be sitting here and I want you guys to come in and talk to me.
Yeah, we get a lot of great feedback too when we have people from downtown come in here as well. So that's something that would be available as well.
Okay.
So what would you tell the people? Right in that camera right there. I'm Dana Bennett. I'm running for first selectman, and this is why I need and deserve your vote.
I'm Dana Bennett, and I am running for first selectman, and I hope you will vote for me on November 2nd. I have a lot of background and experience. I want to be a first selectman that is bringing in some professional ideas and looking at HR, and like I said, I've had training in HR at looking at how those committees all work together, economic development, there's some economic development is only met 3 times, I think, in 2 years. And that's one of the things we need to keep pushing. So we've got to have those meetings. And I think a first selectman has to be available to go to those meetings as often as possible and understand what is happening. I think communication is key. And I think we need to have some standards. Let's raise some standards of what we're doing in Griswold and how we're doing things and how we're operating Griswold. So please vote for me on November 2nd.
Any comments, Paul?
No.
Chris, do you have anything else?
I got a bunch of questions, but I'm good.
Sure, no, go ahead. If you want to ask, yeah, go for it.
All right, let's start with the grant
That's
writing.
why we're doing this,
Yeah.
So.
I understand that both you and your running mate have grant writing knowledge.
Yes.
Let's assume that you pull in a large sum of money. Where does Dana Bennett spend her money first?
That's a good question.
Well, I guess it depends on where, grants are specific. So I wouldn't write a grant unless I knew what I was going to be spending it on. So,
what
if
would
it
you write
were
the first grant for?
at this point, I think I would talk to the businesses about tourism because again, in the times that we've been out with the businesses and talked to them, they've talked about tourism for a long time, some of them, and they want that to be developed in their town. So I would talk to them first, probably.
Okay. Secondly, you talk about tourism, bringing people in. How do you address the parking problem that Jewett City has?
That is a good question. I think we have some parking on the streets. We have a parking lot behind the town hall. I don't know how many spaces that is. On weekends, we're not using it's the senior center now. It'll potentially be the alternative school. On weekends, there will be some of those places that are parking. That hasn't inhibited people right now. I see people from all over coming in.
Okay. Third piece to that pie is community. How do you address the drug problem that Jewett City has?
I would work with Miranda and with her program because I think that is really a necessary thing. I think the more that we build up what is available in Griswold, the more that we're going to be able to kind of address some of those situations. But it is something that needs to continually be addressed. The borough has the access to, I think they're getting their 3rd trooper, and we don't have resident state troopers necessarily that are assigned to cover Griswold. So I think that's an ongoing conversation. And the other thing I'd like to say about Richard Matters. Richard Matters is, again, my running mate. He was a first selectman in Franklin for 18 years, and he did do grant writing. And the other thing that Richard did was he lowered taxes in Franklin during the time that he was a first selectman. So, I really have somebody running with me. If you're voting, you need to vote for both Richard and I because we will be a team that will be able to do all of these things.
Anything else you want to add? I mean, this is your time. So if this is anything else you'd like to add on, that you'd like to talk about?
I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. I am glad that you're offering this to us. And you can reach out to me through the Griswold RTC page. I also have my own Facebook page, Dana Bennett for First Selectman. My phone number is on there for anybody that's not on Facebook. I will give you my phone number right now. It's 860-245-8214. You can text me. You can call me. You can ask me questions. I'm still out knocking doors. I probably won't hit every door that I want to hit, but please feel free to call me and just ask me anything. I'm willing to talk.
All right. Dana, thank you very much for coming in and
thank you.
And actually organizing, all of the RTC candidates
absolutely
for this morning. So awesome. I think it was great because you know what? There was one thing that I wanted to ask you, and that what you did is what'd you do in Montana? And you told me. So I wanted to know that. I just never knew. So
well, we talked about that 2 years ago. I ran 2 years ago and I did.
I probably forgot.
Yeah, well, you're not thinking about me like for 2 years straight, remembering?
Oh, I'm thinking about you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's stop.
I am glad you came in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Dana Bennett, she is running for first selectman here in the town of Griswold. And biggest thing, get out and vote. Get out and vote on November 2nd.
Correct.
That's
Great.
it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Paul Ash. Gracias, senor.
Thank you.
Breakfast time.
Breakfast time. Have a good day, everyone. See ya.
The latest news and weather. SNSN.
This is a news update from the streaming news and sports